I want to bring this up because this is really important. We talk about the presidential election all the time. We talk about Kamala Harris. We talk about Donald Trump, and it's super important. But Donald Trump, should he win the election, which it appears I'm so more than hopeful that he will. All the signs point to a Donald Trump victory. And when that happens, Donald Trump needs tools to effectively put back the American agenda that we all know and want and love. He needs the tools. He needs a Republican Senate, which it looks like he'll get, but he needs a Republican House of Representatives. And I said to Aaron Bean, I said to Congressman Bean, I go, look, is this going to happen? He said, I feel optimistic, but it's got to happen, because just like Kamala Harris says, we're not going back, we need to also say we're not going back. And do you remember what happened the last time Donald Trump was president and the Democrats controlled Congress?
If we don't expect day one of this new Congress to impeach, if
that would
Trump
be the thing.
Win, they would do it.
They're going to go back
because he would look funny or something would happen.
Right.
We would go back the whole. That's
his tie's crooked. We need to impeach him.
The guy. Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's a fair warning. That is a fair point. We talk about it all the time. I go, we need a Republican Congress because Donald Trump needs to get money for border funding and rebuild the wall. We need a Republican Congress because we need to make sure that we're getting our tax breaks and that we're not spending recklessly. We need a Republican Congress so that we're not spending money to Ukraine. But really, Aaron Bean hit the nail on the head. We need a Republican Congress because if we don't have one, day one, they're going to impeach Donald Trump. And it's going to be the same thing over and over again. And it doesn't matter that he didn't do anything wrong. They're going to say his tie was crooked. You know what they're going to do? They're going to say something about, they're probably going to say something about this meeting today. They're probably going to say, well, Donald Trump met with Vladimir Zelensky and interfered in an international affair, and so we've got to impeach him. They'll come up with something. And Congressman Aaron Bean is 100% right. The most important thing we need to do is vote for Donald Trump and a Republican Congress. Because if the Democrats take control, it will be impeachment on day one. Donald Trump's going to start drilling. Donald Trump's going to start deporting. And the Democrats are going to start impeaching. That's everyone's big grand plan for their new era in Washington, D.C. I want to play you what Joe Biden said yesterday because it's so ridiculous. And it proves that Joe Biden has a brand new job. Joe Biden has settled into his next chapter in Democrat politics. And I'm going to tell you all about that. But before I do, I have to share with you this information about Clint Winters. Clint Winters is a name that you may have heard, and not just because I've been talking about it for the past couple of days, but Clint Winters is a medical specialist who's one of those guys that, comes along and says, hey, there's got to be a better way to handle pain. A lot of people have chronic pain or intense pain or pain that just won't go away. They have pain in their arms, their shoulders, their joints. And when you go to the doctor, what does the doctor do? They say, oh, let me prescribe for you an expensive chemical medication that will put in your body and will, trick you into thinking you don't have any more pain. You're not going to feel it, but it's not going to help you in a natural way. And you could even have harmful side effects and addictions as a result. Well, Clint Winters has come up with something really cool. Clint Winters has come up with something called canalidine. And canalidine is this fantastic natural ingredient. What canalidine does is it helps you use your body's natural endorphins. And your body's natural endorphins are your natural painkillers. So when you have a natural substance like canalidine and it comes in and it helps you to boost your endorphins and not feel pain, then you know that you're getting a healthy alternative to all of these drugs. He also has a great deal going on right now for anyone who watches this show. If you go to trycono.com/MarkK, trycono.com/MarkK, you can get until midnight this pain-relieving canalidine, and it's less than $1 a day. Less than $1 a day. It's used by the UFC. It's used by the Sports Business Journal. Athletes use this because they don't, if you're an athlete, if you're anybody, you don't want unnatural substances in your body. You want something that's all natural. And canalidine is the go-to for millions of Americans. Over 1 million Americans use canalidine to help them with their pain. And pain, unfortunately, as you get older, as you get, less and less active, or as your body starts to get a little more mature, you start to feel it. You need some kind of remedy. Clint Winters thinks that canalidine is the best way to go. That's why he's made this special offer. The website address, again, there's a link to it in the description of this video, but you can go to trycono.com/Mark Kaye. Speaking of pains, Joe Biden is still talking. I don't know why Joe Biden's still talking. They still got Joe Biden out there doing stuff. Joe Biden is coming for your guns, or at least he wants you to know that the Second Amendment is still a problem for the Democrats. They don't like it. They never did like it. They want to get rid of it. And he's out there. I guess he was given there was some kind of event at the White House yesterday, and he was talking about it. And now that he has nothing left to lose, politically his career's over. His presidency's almost over. There's 37 days until Election Day. January 20th, he's out of there. So his new job is to just be the loud, obnoxious, yelling grandpa figure of the Democrat Party that says the most ridiculous things so that they can, the rest of the Democrats can then say, well, what Joe Biden's really trying to say is this. And his job yesterday, I guess, was to remind everybody that the Democrats are still coming for your guns. They're still coming after the Second Amendment. They still want to abolish the Second Amendment and disarm the American electorate, because if you have an armed American electorate, that's dangerous for these socialists who run the country.
I taught constitutional law for years, constitutional law. Never was the Second Amendment meant to be absolute. Back when it was passed, you could not own a cannon.
Okay.
No, I'm not joking.
But he's not joking. He's lying. He's like, first of all, I don't know that he for years taught constitutional law. I know that he thinks he taught things, but I think that's been debunked. Also, you could own a cannon. There was nothing in the Second Amendment that says you could not own a cannon. And he's used this line forever. Ever since he decided he wanted to go after high capacity magazines or bump stocks or whatever else it was, he's been telling everybody this amendment was never supposed to be absolute. This amendment, sure, they said you could have the right to bear arms, that right shall not be infringed. Yes, that's what they said, but that's not what they meant. You couldn't own a cannon. There's no law in any history book. There's no record. If you go to the National Archives, if you go to the Library of Congress, if you built a time machine out of a DeLorean and went back to 1790 and sat down with James Madison as he wrote out the Bill of Rights, there's nothing there that says you can't own a cannon because the Second Amendment is not absolute. But he continues.
People like the liberty of America is just water with the blood of patriots. Like hell. I'm serious. Think about it. Think about it. It was never absolute. Never, 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 never.
Okay, he mumbles the phrase. By the way, he totally bastardized. He goes, people say the water of liberty is blood of the patriots. Blah, 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 blah. It wasn't people. Okay, it wasn't people. It was Thomas Jefferson. Okay, Thomas Jefferson is the one who said it. He said the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants, which, by the way, he conveniently left off. If you notice that, he left off the tyranny part.
People like the liberty of America is just water with the blood of patriots. Like hell.
Okay, so what Joe Biden is basically saying is Thomas Jefferson, one of the founding fathers, the author of the Declaration of Independence, the second Vice President of the United States, the third President of the United States, Thomas Jefferson said the tree of liberty must be refreshed from time to time with the blood of patriots and tyrants. And Joe Biden saying, like hell it does. Like it was never meant to be absolute. I have here a copy of the Bill of Rights, which I keep handy. And look, I'm looking at it. Where's it right here? This is very exciting. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say except for cannons. It doesn't say this amendment is not absolute. It just says shall not be infringed, period. That's you can see. I don't know if you can see it there. You may have to zoom in, but there's a period at the end of the statement. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, period. Which is another one of Joe Biden's favorite sayings. Now, all of a sudden, he seems to have forgotten all that, and he's spreading lies. But this is a reminder. This is an important reminder that Joe Biden is still the president. Joe Biden is still the guy that you need to be afraid of, because Joe Biden is setting the agenda for the next generation of Democrat leadership, and they have not forgotten. Yes, they're dealing with the immigration crisis, maybe. Yes, they're trying to convince you that the economy's not bad. Yes, they're trying to get their people elected, but when they do, they have not given up on coming to your door and taking your firearms, just like Beto O'Rourke told you he was going to do, and just like Kamala Harris told you she was going to do. And when Kamala Harris comes out on television with Oprah Winfrey and says, I'm a gun owner, and Tim Walz is a gun owner, and we're not trying to take anyone's guns, and if you come to my house, you're going to get shot, just remember, she's a liar.
What's the first word that pops into your head when you hear the name Kamala Harris?
Liar.